My name is Aaron Jewett, and I am the owner of Ohio Valley Glass. Ohio Valley Glass is a production studio of glass art, but we're a little more than that, as in we do events here and teach classes, but mainly we're just a glass studio focused on making glass pipes. I've been blowing glass for 23 years, maybe 24, and I've always focused on pipe making around probably 1999. This was the first place that I saw anybody blow glass in this building, and I ended up learning. But I was in Colorado, so when I would come back to Dayton, I would work in another friend's studio here every once in a while. And then when I moved back to Dayton in 2006, I started blowing glass full time here at Front Street until around 2008. And then I came back in 2015 because Ohio Valley Glass was just expanding and we needed more space, and I knew that this was the perfect place to be having a studio. So that's been my time in Dayton, with Ohio Valley Glass. This studio is different in that it's more of a collaborative. Obviously, it's my studio and I'm the manager and kind of keep the lights on and all that kind of stuff. But we've always had several other glass artists in here, and it's definitely changed in the 10 years that we've been at Front Street now. But we've always had a core of like pipe makers and glass artists that have mostly worked for me and learned through me, but we've always had other people that were on their own and mostly sold through like social media and didn't really use my distribution network. So that has been fun to have different artists through here during the years, and even people that have just stopped in or taught a class here or stayed for a week. And a lot of Ohio artists have come through here to the open houses or to the classes to see it, and then maybe come back and work for a day and hang out with us. And I think that has been a great thing for my career. And then everybody that's been here, that's been, usually the most positive thing for them is just the environment where other glass artists were here and talking and sharing their knowledge, and then other people would stop in and do the same thing, whether they worked or just hung out with us while we worked. But there's always been a big exchange of information about glass blowing and art, life, etc. But that's been a big positive to everybody that's been here. My career is like totally built around making pipes. That's what I train people how to make. That's what my primary business is. And with that, I have really kind of always focused on high quality pieces, but not making like real intricate, expensive, heady glass, as they call it. And a lot of that has to do with, I'm totally a Daytonian at heart. I'm a blue collar guy. I was a tradesman, so to me, I'm like making simple tools for simple people, and that's what I pride myself on, because that is really what is getting sold like day in and day out is like people's daily drivers that they take with them, that they use every day. So I really take pride in making a simple, classic kind of functional art piece, and that's always kind of been my focus and passion. I could make this or make that, but I really enjoy the process of making simple pipes, you know, and it's a lot of fun, and it allows me kind of to have like a little bit of like a Zen practice while I work, because I'm just kind of making these same shapes and forms that I've made thousands of times, and it's really fun to do that because I do it freely. I get to choose when I start and stop. I get to choose the colors. I have just so much freedom making these pieces over and over again. And I love the simplicity of just making these easy pieces to sell that are easily appreciated. And then I have all kinds of freedom to do other things in my life and other hobbies. And obviously, or not obviously to everybody, with pipe making being the main focus of what we do, that is totally intertwined with cannabis culture and that lifestyle. So most of what we have done or do has been kind of taboo, and that has been the great thing about being here at Front Street, is that we're just artists, and you know, obviously we're outside artists, and that's where we've always lived and been, and that has been the best part about being here, is that Front Street has always been accepting of us. The other artists here have always been accepting of us. And by having First Friday, we've been able to open that up to the public and have people walk in and be like, oh, what are you making? And it's like, oh, well, we're making pipes. And so there's always been this ambiguity about the pipe and what it's used for or isn't used for. And so we have always kind of had to deal with that catch-22 of legalization and what people are using our tools for, and in the end, we're just making tools for people to buy and use how they choose. So it's really a big part of like freedom of choice and speech, and I have felt like we're just foot soldiers for culture. Dayton is, to me, like the center of like industry and creativity. So many things were invented here, started here, produced here, like all kinds of, obviously, you know, in the modern era, it's all about industry and that kind of stuff. But, you know, that's still admirable and cool. And that's what I think about when I think about Dayton, and I'm stoked to be a part of that, to be creating here and pushing the envelope of like art and culture in Dayton. You know, it couldn't be more perfect.